It's 2024, and I'm playing Dark Souls Remastered. Because clearly, I hate myself. First things first, I need to make my character. I have no idea what I'm doing here, so I end up picking Wanderer as my class, simply because it starts me with the best looking fit. For my gift, I chose the Master Key, because I need all the shortcuts I can get my hands on. There's an opening cutscene which actually seems fairly straightforward, as far as Dark Souls lore goes. There was some big war where the lords fought the dragons,
and the dragons were no more.
All seems to make sense so far. I then wake up in a dungeon, and all that time spent on my character's face was clearly wasted, as I'm now some kind of rotting zombie. I head down the corridor and defeat the first enemy without taking any damage. This might not seem like much of an achievement, but I don't really play FromSoft games, and I am terrible at using the third-person camera. Half the reason why the past few games I've played have been third-person is that I've wanted to get some practice in so that I don't instantly suck at this. And so far, it's working, as I make my way to the first bonfire totally unharmed. I then come across my first locked door, and look forward to using my Master Key, but the door doesn't open. Instead, I'm forced to pass through the big doors where the giant demon resides. Now I do actually know what I'm doing with this first boss fight, so I run to the exit at the side and escape before it can bonk me. In the next section it seems my starting equipment is just laying around, so I get a decent sword and shield at long last. This lets me take down my first ranged enemy with ease. I'm vaguely aware that hidden doors or invisible walls or some nonsense of that sort exist in this game, so I start randomly hitting walls to see if anything happens. After nothing happens, I successfully dodge a boulder which opens up a room to this dying knight. He's kind enough to give me some healing items,
an Estus flask, an undead favourite,
before dying and giving me his souls as well. Seems that I get rewarded just for being around things that die, which is suitably creepy for Dark Souls. There's plenty more enemies for me to fight as I progress, including the first one who isn't dressed in literal rags. This guy was smart enough to get some armour, but clearly he's been ripped off as it's not even swordproof. I then find another door, which I can't open. At this point I'm wondering if I'm doing something wrong and need to equip the key, but nope, it just doesn't work on any door I've found so far. And now it's time. The first boss fight of Dark Souls. I drop down and deal devastating damage to the Asylum Demon. He's able to return the favour, but I heal through it and then make sure to roll past the attacks, stick to the demon's plentiful backside, and take it down. Honestly, this fight was really straightforward, and a lot easier than I'd expect from this sort of game. As a reward for getting through without dying, I make sure to roll through some giant pots, which would likely be worth a fortune on Antiques Roadshow. Seems I'm done with this region as a giant bird picks me up in its claws and drops me off at the iconic Firelink Shrine. Here I get to perform my first level up. Because I have basically no idea what I'm doing, I make sure to read through every bit of stat info I can find, and then throw the levels into Vitality and Endurance, because I like carry weight and hit points. I'm trying to be more friendly these days, so speak to the guy sitting nearby, but he gives off a real creepy vibe. The way he talks without opening his mouth, or moving his lips, or blinking, is kind of unsettling. I decide to leave him be and start wandering around this small safe zone, looking for whatever loot I can find. While doing so, I spot the big burb who brought me here, so I give it a friendly wave, which I like to think means, thank you for not eating me. It's time to leave this safe space, but instead of dealing with angry bigots, it's a pair of skeletons which attack me. And honestly, I think I prefer this. It quickly becomes apparent that I wasn't supposed to head this way, as the skellies dish out quite a bit of damage, while I'm basically trying to poke them to death. Through perseverance, and hiding behind my shield, I'm eventually able to take them down. The smart thing at this point would be just to turn around and leave, but I spotted a nearby item, so try to grab it and run. Seems like running away doesn't work, so I have to fight these two skellies in the ruins. I do get a cool drop attack which does serious damage, but not enough to win the fight. I'm pushed back to the bonfire and use the added room to stay out of range, slowly chipping away at the skeletons until they're defeated. After a bit of searching, I find the path I'm actually supposed to take, as you can tell by the fact that enemies don't take 20 minutes to kill. There's a fair few of them though, and one is throwing firebombs, so things aren't as simple as they first seem. I'm proud to say I still won the fight, and didn't even take too much damage. In the next section, I find another locked door, and guess what? I can't open it. I'm starting to think this master key was just put into the game as a joke. My key may not work, but my legs still do, so I reach the Undead Burg. As the name implies, there's more undead here, but it's the weak-ass zombies rather than the Chad Skellies, so all goes smoothly. Not only do I easily dispatch the bad guys, but I also make this jump on the first try. At this point I'm starting to get a little overconfident, so I somewhat recklessly try to fight 4 enemies at once. My hubris heralds hurt as I get slashed to bits. But miraculously survive with a sliver of health. The game rewards me with literal rubbish, which I can only take as an insult. I'm trying to do a thorough search of the area so I don't miss out on any items, and so I spot this short gap which looks jumpable, so I try and jump it. Again, and again, and again. Eventually I decide to take all my armour off in case that's weighing me down, but even after doing that, I still can't make the jump. So I give up, re-equip my gear, and try again. Alright, this time I actually give up and... What the hell? The opening cutscene clearly said...
And the dragons were no more.
Either I've been lied to, or pigeons in this world are seriously fucking jacked. Back to normality as I'm fighting more of the undead. This guy with the spear and shield causes me some problems as he's unwilling to lower his defences, even when I do a vomit-inducing spin. Finally he attacks me and I get in a deadly backstab. And not wanting to deal with the same shit again, I take down the second guy instantly. I've got a reasonable number of souls saved up, so find a bonfire and level up, this time putting points into vitality and dexterity, so I can deal more damage and also take more. I charge into a room to try and avoid a rain of firebombs and absolutely slay the people inside. The game rewards my performance with another door which does not open. After another fight, I figure out how to do the fancy backflip attack and literally jump for joy at having worked this out. I then find a door which my key can actually open. That deserves another jump for joy, I think. I know I won't use the gold Primarism that I'm rewarded with, but it's still nice to have. Upon killing my next enemy, the number at the top left of the screen changes from 0 to 1. I have literally no idea what this means. My first assumption was that this was some kind of death counter, but that's clearly not the case. Is it a counter for how many times I kill that specific guy up top? Could be for all I know. Even though I mastered the parry and riposte mere seconds ago, I decide that the big knight guy looks too intimidating, and instead take my chances with the clearly booby-trapped stairs. Despite being well prepared for what is about to happen, my lack of skill with third-person controls means that I still get hit by the flaming barrel. The barrel guy has even more tricks up his sleeve, as he uses his own Estus flask to heal up. Giving me healing items is perfectly good and fair, but the second an enemy in the game can heal up too, that is a huge injustice, and is clearly the game cheating. To try and get me back on side, Dark Souls then gives me another door which my key actually opens. Doesn't seem to open to anything too interesting straight away, so I keep walking down. But at the bottom is this angry knight with fancy armour and a metal club with serious fuck off and leave me alone vibes. The fight starts, but after taking a couple of hits, the knight goes still. I assume that there's some kind of chivalry taking place here, so I graciously wave to show I understand. Turns out you can't roll away while in the middle of a gesture, so the knight caves my fucking head in. Despite being quite an embarrassing way to die, I'm genuinely impressed with how well I did overall. Dark Souls is quite an intimidating game for me to take on, so the fact I survived for over an hour is something I'm proud of. If you enjoyed this video, do make sure to leave a like, subscribe for more like this in the future, and as always, thanks for watching. Sarge out.